Always remember, your focus determines your reality. Stay close to me, and you'll be safe.
All right, guys, last video while I am on a break is going to be the top 10 teams for GAC. So every month I like to do a different top 10, or maybe I go rehash the top 10 for whatever I want to talk about, for either the all-around teams, probably just, teams I think are pretty good, in some different modes, or like whatever. But I decided for this one in this month, for March, I wanted to talk about GAC in particular. So I know we're going to have some 3v3 happening here soon, but I definitely do believe that this is an okay time to bring it up. Maybe I go and do some 3v3 top 10s. I don't know. But I thought it was long overdue to talk about 5v5 top 10 GAC teams. So here we go. Number one, we're going to start from the top down to the bottom in this one. And I think this one is number one because it's Vader. Vader can counter and kill all of the GLs. In GAC, that is such a huge thing to have for you in your back pocket. You don't even know how important this is. Vader, Thrawn, Watt, you can toss in like a Traya, maybe a Piet, maybe a Bastila Fallen, maybe a Preton as well. There's so many different teams and comps you can use with Vader and these different three people. And you can counter all the GLs. You can counter from GL Luke all the way down to a Kylo. So, pretty simple here. I think he's number one just for the sole fact alone that he can counter all the GLs, and also pretty much every other team in the game. Padme's, Grievous's. Sometimes you can counter some other teams depending on the mods, depending on what you're rocking with your team. It just depends for those other ones, but he can counter so many different guys. So number one for the GL counters, and then number two here for my list here, I got the Jedi. So I usually have, these guys split into two different teams, but in this, for this video at least, I just wanted to talk about them in general because they can beat a lot of different stuff. So and also in this whole list, there's no GLs. I'm not going to be bringing up any of my GLs I have. So this is non-GL top 10 GAC teams, by the way. And lots of these ones are about countering the other GLs. So to keep it going, this team here, if you want to bring in some more Jedi to counter a Kylo, you can definitely do that as well. Bringing in a Hermit Yoda, Old Ben, and also Bastila. This beats some Kylos very, very well, actually. And then if you wanted to swap out these guys for some others and bring in like a gas, this is on unique only, so I gotta change this. Bring in like a gas here, some more Jedi. It can also counter a Rey. It actually helps a lot to have this in your back pocket because it just allows for more flexibility for offenses. And if you wanted to use this team to counter, let's say a Rey, you still have a Vader counter to use somewhere else. So it just makes it so much more flexible. And also, if you have Luke, this one right here, also unlocked, and you can use him too. Well, you can save him, not using him in the raid counter, using, somebody else for countering something else. Maybe some bounty hunters, maybe some First Order, maybe some CLSs as well, because they can definitely beat some CLS teams. So having this in your back pocket helps a lot. And, just having that capability and flexibility to counter different GLs and moving the Vader counter to something else more important and giving yourself more max banners is definitely very huge for you in GAC. So that's number two. Number three is going to be CLS and the Rebels. So I love these guys so much. You guys know how much I love these guys. And the reason they're number three on here is because they can beat a couple GLs, but not all of them. But the other reason why they're here is because they can counter a lot of other teams from, a Padme, JKR, some Darth Ravens, gases. I think I say Grievous and Padme, CLS mirror matches. So many different teams, guys. It's crazy what these guys can beat. And that's why they're on this list. They can beat so many non-GL teams in the game and get you some good banners as well. Also, for defenses, this is the first one we bring up in this list that's a very strong defensive team as well if you have it all modded properly. So they're great for some non-GL counters. They can counter sometimes a Kylo, sometimes they can counter the Emperor, and also sometimes they can counter some Master Lukes, depending on what the comp is that they've been set to have to counter in GAC. But for the most part, non-GL counters, these guys are your best bet Again, I'm sorry for my camera being so dumb. Anyways, let's go on to the number 4 here, which is Gas in the 501st. So Gas 501st is one that I brought up on this list a bit higher than my last month when it comes to top 10 because Gas 501st is so flexible, especially considering the fact that you can actually not have to use Gas lead and use Shock T lead instead if you want to save gas for a different team. But for this team, they can counter so many different things. They can counter some mirror matches. They can counter some other non-GL teams that we just mentioned. They don't give you the best banners, but they can definitely get the job done, and they are extremely powerful on the defense side of things as well. Recently, in my GAC defenses, I've been setting these guys on defense and getting some good holds there as well. So, yeah, they're great for defense. I love them a lot. I think they're one of the best defense teams in the game for GAC at the moment that are non-GLs. I think that because you can use so many different Jedi without having to use gas, and it just helps it, you know, all over the place with different counters. So that's that team. I love them a lot. And at this point in the video, my camera died on me, so I'm going to just have my icon, my logo, covering my face cam. So I'm sorry about that, guys. Anyways, next up, we got Darth Raven and his whole 5 guys that I like a lot. Ideally, though, I would toss out HK and toss in the Sith Empire Trooper. So this guy right here, great 5th for this team. He's a great Preton as well. This is a great defensive team, guys. I would not really use this too much on the offensive right now in the game, for where I'm at least, but you can still use these guys on offense if you needed to. But personally, I love these guys on defense because you have some Malik for that extra fear, some more debuffs, and all this sort of stuff with how these guys function and work. But with modding them, I'll go into modding these guys in a different video, but I love having a very slow Basilisk on Fallen. Same with the Darth Raven, and then just making them very tanky, making them very hard to kill. It allows for them to do a lot of great things for you and just keep them very strong on the defense, like in a back wall. They're so huge, guys. So I love these guys a lot. Darth Raven's a great defensive team, and that's why they're number 5 on this list. So that's them. Number 6 is going to be the Troopers. So it's kind of funny. The Darth Raven and Gas are great for defenses in JC, but then now we have the Troopers, which suck. They are so bad on defense in JC. So this is a more offensive-based team now, especially with Piet in the game and also with Moff Gideon. So these guys are so great on offense. They can counter some GL Emperor teams and lots of other non-GL teams in the game, from, you know, ranging from the Night Sisters to Bounty Hunters. Sometimes you can counter other teams depending on who the team is you're fighting, in the comp rather. But definitely a fun team to use. So great, especially for giving some max banners to you guys in GAC. So that's that team. And next up here is something very similar to the Troopers, which is a bit more offensive-based team, although you can definitely use these guys on defense if you needed to. But mainly, these guys are on offense because they give you a lot of high banner wins, especially if you have them modded properly. So this is another team I'd love to go and do a modding guide on, is the Bounty Hunters. So this team is with a Bosk lead. You can use a Jango Fett lead if you wanted to, depending on who you want to counter and fight. Because sometimes you can counter some Darth Revens, and if you wanted to counter those guys, Jango Fett is the best lead to use there. But these guys can counter, again, some of the same teams that the Troopers can, besides countering GLs. And in GAC, having them in your back pocket allows for more banner gain and allows for you to set better defenses onto your opponents, which is a huge factor in GAC, and I love them a lot. So that's the next one. And then after that, I want to talk about Padme. So I think this is number 8 on the list. So Padme is 8 on this list. She's fallen quite a bit for this whole GAC stuff, but I do like her still a lot, guys. She's still a lot of fun to use. Maybe toss her up in the Bounty Hunters, like maybe move these guys, but I still like them where they are in this list. Padme is number 8, though, because she can be very good on both sides of GAC for, you know, offenses and also defenses. So she's great for defense because she pulls some good counters, and if you wanted to pull some different counters, like with using that very low gear 5th Galactic Republic person that pulls some different counters, like a Revan counter, you can pull a CLS counter, maybe some Traya counters if you have to worry about Traya. But definitely there's a lot of counters to this team as is right now in the game. But on the offensive, if you want to use them on the offense rather, you can still beat a lot of good teams, but you just don't get the high banners as you would for other teams you might want to use. So that's like one big thing here with the Padme is, yeah, you can use them wherever you want, but just keep in mind that they will not give you the best banners. And I love them on defense because they pull something pretty good for the most part. So that's number 8 there, guys. And number 9 is going to be Grievous. Grievous and the droids, so great in GAC, especially this team with Newt Gunray, guys. Newt Gunray cost me my last GAC round because of his stupid extortion. Extra speed down and extortion just really hands it to you, especially in the Night Sister counter, guys. So annoying. But anyways, they're number 9 here because on the offensive, they have been proven to be super awesome in counters like a CLS, maybe some Night Sisters, maybe some other teams you might need to fight in GAC. But, you know, recently people have been setting CLS on defense like crazy. And guess what? Grievous counters that very nicely and allows for you to set a better defensive team. Maybe your own CLS on defense, right? And also, them as a whole can be set on defense just as good as any other team with this Newt and pull some different counters, right? So they're great to have on defense, great to have on offense. They just don't give you good banners. That's the only thing on the offensive. But same with Padme. They're kind of the exact same boat and plane of GAC lists, I guess you could say. They're around the same tier. So that's them. Number 9's Grievous Squad. And the number 10 is JTR. So I could have gone and talk about, you know, First Order, some more, you know, Empire teams, maybe some more like a Mon Mothma as well. But I feel like the JTR is one team that people forget about a lot. These guys can still hand it to people in your GAC rounds because the bros still exist, guys. They are still in existence. They have not gone away. And these guys can accomplish so much for you on both sides of the fence, GAC offenses and defenses. This team right here, I don't use as much because I like using the vets instead and then saving these guys for my Galactic Legend Ray, right? But definitely a great lineup to use here with, you know, the Inspire mechanic on the fin, more counterattacks with the resistance, and a lot more healing and just everything here, honestly, with how these guys all work. So these guys, they're great for offense. So offenses, they can counter for GAC. They can counter, you know, I think they can counter some Padmes if you have them, you know, with the right speed. They go before them. That pretty much is there with Finn being Finn and all the extra AoEs you get, and just kind of hitting on the others. It's kind of like a CLS counter. I've shown this counter before, but it's a bit more harsh if you don't have good gear and good Zetas and, you know, all the right modding. So that's probably not the best one to tell first, but they can be lots of other stuff in the game, and they give you some good banners too. So personally, they're number 10 because I don't find them the best useful on the offense, but defense side of things, they're great. They can pull some good counters. Ideally, I like to pull, you know, some CLSs, so that way they can't use CLS on my other teams, but that's a whole different story. But JTR is number 10 here because, yeah, they can still be good on the offense, but definitely great on defense. So there you guys go. The top 10 GAC defenses for this month in March, and I might do this and keep it a recurring series for the next months ahead. But I love these guys a lot. Mainly, while I'm listing these and why they're in this order is because of their GL counter capabilities. You know, with Vader being Vader, you know, the Revan and the Luke, and then some CLS and gases and so on and so forth, like we just mentioned. So guys, that's it. If you guys would change any of these guys in this list, let me know down below in the comments. And if you guys have any other video ideas you would like me to do, let me know down below as well. But that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching today's video. And yeah, if you guys have not subbed yet, definitely feel free to sub. We're trying to hit our 15K sub goal, guys. That'd be awesome. But that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. Until next time, thank you again for watching. I'm not sure why I'm saying that so much, but peace out, guys, and have a good one. See you guys.